Hello, hello. Who's been watching Masa and Ali and the story of Nika Whisky, Hokkaido Pride? Yeah. It's a lovely story. I enjoy watching it because the Japanese is not too difficult, and when she's speaking, she speaks nice and clearly. So I enjoy it. My wife loves it. I think everyone loves it. So that's Masa and Ali, but today's whiskey we're talking about is not Nika whiskey, it is Suntory whiskey, which was voted the best whiskey in the world. Okay, new vocab void style, you're going to have the sentences down the bottom, the sample sentences. Just before we start, I'll tell you something you can say you learned today. Whiskey can be spelled W-H-I-S-K-Y or W-H-I-S-K-E-Y. If it's got an E, it means whiskey from the US. If it doesn't have an E, it means whiskey from Scotland or Ireland. Or Japan, because they bought it. There you go. There you go. Okay, let's get started. Let's get started without that mute sign there. And here we go. First one, overtaken. Overtaken means to pass. If you overtake a car, you pass the car. Okay? Whiskey has overtaken many other drinks in popularity. AKB has overtaken Morning Musume in popularity, to go past. Relationship. A relationship is the way two things are connected. My wife and our relationship is husband and wife. Your wider family, your extended family are called your relations because you have a relationship with them. Okay, and also things can have relationships. The factories producing lots of carbon monoxide has a relationship with the hole in the ozone layer. They're connected. Define. Define, where I'm defining all these words for you. To define something is to say exactly what it is. You can define a word or something. What defines Japan? When people think of Japan, they think of sushi. Sushi defines Japan. Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty defines Japan. Something which points out what something is. Foremost. Foremost is, fore means in front, most means most. So foremost means the most visible thing, the most important thing, the biggest thing. Foremost. Very often put with first. First and foremost means most importantly. Accolade. An accolade is a prize, is an award. Suntory Whiskey have just won the accolade of the world's best whiskey. Accolade, prize, award. Compatriot. A compatriot is someone from your own country. I often meet my compatriots at TK6 to watch the rugby. I am going back and I will see all my compatriots when I go back to New Zealand. So a compatriot is someone from your country of birth. Dysfunctional. Functional means working as it should. The camera that is filming this is functional. So it's filming me, so it's working, it's functional. Dysfunctional means not working properly. It's very often used to describe people or situations. A dysfunctional family is always arguing, always fighting. Families are supposed to love each other, but dysfunctional, fighting, arguing. Ubiquitous. Ubiquitous means everywhere, means everything. In Japan, what's ubiquitous in Japan? Trains are ubiquitous in Japan. There's trains everywhere. Pachinko is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. Hello Kitty is ubiquitous, it's everywhere. Versatile. Versatile means someone who can do many different things or something that can be used for many different things. A good employee is versatile in that he can do many different jobs. Context. Context. A context is the situation in which something occurs. All of these words I'm explaining to you in context. Whenever I give my explanation, just like I'm doing now, I'm giving the situation in which it occurs. Best way to learn language is learning it in context. In a dictionary, it's just a word, but in context, it's in the atmosphere in which it's being used. Wane. Wane means to lessen, to go down. If something's waning, it's getting weaker, it's getting slower. The demand for something can wane, means the demand goes down. Static. Static means not really working, not really performing, not really doing very much. Static population growth, static growth in the economy means it's not going up. The economy is fairly static in Japan. It's not changing, it's not getting better. High roller. A high roller is someone with lots of money who spends big. High rollers, when I worked at the casino, I worked at a casino for 5 years, can you believe? And sometimes I had to work in the high rollers room. That's where people are gambling big money. High rollers, they buy expensive bottles of whiskey. High rollers, someone with lots of money who likes big noting it. Toast. A toast is kanpai. Cheers. Ganbei. Ganbei is Chinese, isn't it? Yeah. Kanpai, a toast. If you're at a formal dinner, the head of the table, the most important person there, he will get his spoon and he will get his glass and go bang, 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 bang. And everyone's quiet. Let me have a toast. Toasts. Let's toast Matthew on his magnificent vocab voyage. Okay? To toast is to acknowledge someone by kanpai. But you don't wah, you just sip. Yeah? Inroad. An inroad is to be making progress into changing a situation, usually at the cost of something else. At the moment, Japanese whiskey is making inroads in the international whiskey market. So their sales are getting bigger, their reputation's getting bigger, maybe at the cost of Scottish whiskey, because in this year's awards, the 5 top whiskies, none from Scotland. Outrageous. Ritual. A ritual is something which you've always done. Church has many rituals. When you walk in, you have to put your hand in here, and when you go up to get communion, you put this hand here. That's a ritual. In my family, the ritual on Christmas morning was to go to church first. The ritual in whiskey, if you're having ice, it's 3 ice cubes. It's the way things are done. It's a very set way of doing things. Sports players often have rituals. I can't remember the player's name, but he always comes on the field last. Might be Andy Cole. He always comes onto the field as the last person. That's his ritual, something which he's always done. Excess, often used with to excess, to drink too much, to eat too much. People are often warned not to drink to excess. Oh no, I drank to excess means I drank too much. Opposite of in excess is in moderation. Everything's okay in moderation. Not too much, not in excess. Conquer. To conquer something is to overtake. William the Conqueror, he conquered many different countries. AKB has conquered the music market. Japanese whiskey is in the process of conquering the world with its whiskey. It's making great whiskey and they're selling it everywhere and they're taking the market, they're conquering it. Identical. Identical means exactly the same. Okay? Identical means exactly the same. The two things I just said were identical, exactly the same. Identical twins, futago twins, identical twins, they look exactly the same. Zeal. Zeal means to do something with zeal, or to feel zeal is like national, like, yeah, let's do it, yeah? Enthusiastic. Out of kilter. Out of kilter means a bit strange. There's something a bit out of kilter with this. It means something not quite right. You know, something's wrong. It's just not quite working properly. Something's out of kilter. There's something out of kilter with the Japanese economy at the moment. They just can't seem to get it going. Okay, so something's out of kilter. Not even. Withstand. To withstand is to have something, is to stand against something. Every year, Akito and I, we have to withstand the Sapporo winter. It's cold, but we have to hold it out. In sports, if a weak team and a strong team play, and the strong team has to withstand the weak team has to withstand the strong team's attacks. Withstand an attack. Antics. Antics is silliness. Antics are in the article here, the antics were the drunken antics of salarymen, you know, on the train, singing and dancing and telling women they're beautiful and stuff. That's antics. Silly action, silly behavior. Slump. A slump is to go down. If there's a slump in demand, demand goes down. If there's a slump in use goes down. If there's a slump in popularity, popularity goes down. Typical. Typical means futsu. It means usual. It's a typical autumn day here. It's a typical early winter day here in Sapporo. It's cold, the sun's out, but it's still crisp. It's still a bit chilly. A typical start to the winter. It had a big snowfall, but there's been no snow for a couple of weeks. Okay, the big snow's not coming. Keioshi, typically the May snow starts in mid-December. Nostalgia, Natsukashi. Nostalgia, you remember back. I remember back in the day when I was young and we used to go to the pub and we used to drink whiskey. Nostalgia, Natsukashi, feelings of long ago, good feelings. Resurrection. Resurrection, something is gone, something is dead and buried, it's brought back to life. Resurrection, the original resurrection again is from the Bible, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. He was dead, he came back to life. If something is dead, something is completely out of fashion, out of favor, but it comes back, there's a resurrection. What has undergone a resurrection? Flares, you know the flares on your pants, the big bottoms of pants, they had a resurrection a few years back. Big in the 60s, disappeared. A few years ago they came back. Cradle. A cradle is, to cradle something is like this. You cradle a baby or you cradle a whiskey. Okay? Cradle is to protect, to look after, to hold close. Gleam. Gleam is to shine because of you've cleaned it so much. The light comes on, it shines. The boss said to his employee, make sure you shine that shine. The hotel boss said to his staff, make sure you shine the brass till it's gleaming, till it gleams. Last word, inebriation. Inebriation means to be drunk. If you're in a state of an inebriation, I'll show you that a bit more. Inebriation means you're drunk. Okay? To be inebriated is to be drunk. Okay? Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time. Bye.